Leopard Type 3 entered the market in April 2025. Today we have July and we clearly understand that this car is a great market success. In June 2025 there were sold more than 12,000 units of this car, which is extremely good result for the oversaturated Chinese market. Today I will try to show you why Chinese buyers and overseas buyers, by the way, like this car so much. Before you proceed to watching this review, I would like to show you these Leopard stocks. This is our partner dealership where we buy these cars for export, and all of them you can buy for export to your country without no limitations. We also will help you with accessories, spare parts and so on, and of course it will be in the best time terms and with the best prices. All the contacts to buy a car from China are under this video. Just check it out. We have WhatsApp, WeChat, Telegram and so on. Several facts about uniqueness of this car. The cheapest car in the world you can buy with drone system. The cheapest car in the world with adjustable ground clearance. The cheapest car in the world with electric drive of the front lid. I assume you should agree this is already pretty amazing. Now we go to the technical data, which will be a lot of it as in most of my reviews. The length of the car is 4,605 millimeters, which put it in the class of compact to medium-sized SUV. The wheelbase here is 2,745 millimeters, and to say roughly, this is the size of Volkswagen ID.4. The body here is made fully of steel panels. They all are zinc coated inside and outside, and the carb weight of this car starts from 1,995 kilograms to 2,265 kilograms in the four-wheel drive version with the drone system like this one. We have two options for the powertrain of this car: the two-motor full-wheel drive and the single-motor rear-wheel drive car. In the rear-wheel drive car we will have 218 horsepower, acceleration from 0 to 100 in 7.9 seconds. The motor layout is on the rear axle. In full-wheel drive car we will have 422 horsepower, acceleration from 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds in normal car, and in 5.3 seconds in the top version with the drone system like this one. In this part, when we talked about the motor, I should tell you about the ITAC system from BYD. What is that? First of all, it's not a new system. This system I first met on the BYD Tang of the old generation, but after the last update, after the last facelift of this car. But this is the first video I will get acquainted my viewers to this system. Basically, this is exactly what we call ESP and traction control in a traditional petrol car, but it works in a different way and gives much better result. In this system, the torque is adjusted according to the wheel, according to the situation, in actually a real time, not as a consequence in a traditional ESP system when it will block or change torque after something happens, but here it occurs so fast that it is actually a real time. It's not even milliseconds of time. As a result, this car in certain circumstances, like for example rainy or snowy weather, can drive 30 to 40% better, faster and less dangerous than car with traditional ESP. Also, we have the drift mode, which is basically ensured by the same system, by the electric motor torque monitoring and adjusting system, which we have the drift mode in this car. So, to cut the long story short, it is the new generation of ESP and traction control, which actually could be possible to perform only in the electric cars. And here we have this system. Now it's time to talk about the batteries. We have three options. Rear-wheel drive car will have 65 kilowatt-hour battery, which is of course lithium ferrum phosphate battery, BYD Blade type. This is a 400-volt battery, which will ensure 501 kilometers of range at fully charged by CLTC cycle. Actually, all the batteries have the same CLTC cycle, 501 kilometers. The next battery, which is used in a four-wheel drive version without the drone system, is 73 kilowatt hours, and this is already the 800 volts platform. And the biggest one is 78 actually 79 kilowatt hours, which is used only in this one car with the drone system to ensure the same CLTC range for the heavier car, which is, if I'm not mistaken, about 100 kilogram heavier than the previous version without the drone system. The batteries here are cell-to-body integrated system, which ensures lower weight and higher body rigidity. It's also worth mentioning that the car has pretty high top speed for an electric car. The top speed is 201 kilometers per hour, and of course it's ensured by the only one thing: the high RPM motors. The top RPM here is 20,000, and 2-3 years ago this amount of RPM would be unimaginable in a budget car of that price range. Now it's time to describe shortly the equipment by the versions of this car. We have 5 versions. The first 2 are rear-wheel drive, then we have 2 4-wheel drive versions, and the last one is the 4-wheel drive version, the most expensive with the drone. And the current prices of this car in the showroom are about from 19,000 United States dollars to 27,000 United States dollars for the drone version. We start from the rims. The rear-wheel drive cars have 18-inch rims, but here we have the 19-inch with the 245 millimeters of the tire width. And pay attention, for this price, for relatively budget car, we already have the fixed calipers here. Suspension in different versions differs as well. Of course, we have the same levers. In front we have McPherson, but not the cheapest one. We have the double ball joint levers in the down of the suspension, which is more expensive, more sophisticated, of course, same by the way as in my BMW iX3, but probably should be better handling. In the rear-wheel drive versions we have the normal shock absorbers, but in the four-wheel drive versions we have the uni-end suspension with the softness and hardness adjustments of the shock absorbers. And now is the most interesting issue. In the beginning of this video, I told you that it is the cheapest car with the ground clearance adjusting possibility in the whole world. It was like that, and now it's not like this anymore. In the first cars, there was the option of ground clearance adjustment, but only for the front shock absorbers. I saw it personally, and probably I have somewhere a video in my archive. But now they canceled this function. No more ground clearance adjustment in the Type 3. Nevertheless, the ground clearance here is almost 200 millimeters under the plastic of the front subframe protection, which is pretty good. Type 3 is Titanium 3. Here we have the Eye of God shield. And let's check out the rear suspension, which is a multi-link suspension, I guess 5 levers. Here we have the ground clearance even bigger than in the front, 208 millimeters under the rear motor. And here we have different dusters, different protections, pretty soft, but nevertheless we have it. And of course the battery is covered in some protection, by some protection sheet, same as most of the BYD cars now. Now I will tell you the funniest thing about this car, and maybe the funniest thing I've discovered about cars in past half year. All the versions of Type 3 have the openable panoramic sunroof, even the basic version, which has very poor equipment. But the drone version is completely different. We have the panoramic system here. It's already not openable, but the most funny thing that basically it's also not usable. Just look at this. We have the sunshade, and this is the maximum opening of the sunshade. I cannot open it anymore. So we have the smallest panoramic sunroof in the world, which is about 18 to the width maybe 60 centimeters. And I haven't seen anything like that. Despite we actually have the panoramic sunroof there, it's made of glass, but it's all covered by this drone box. It's not worth mentioning all the cars have the autopilot level 2+ system, which is Eye of God system, which is based on D-Link 100. Of course we have cameras 360, of course we have the blind spot monitoring. This system is not based on LiDAR. Generally it's the basic Eye of God, it is in more cheaper cars, but still it can perform many things. Of course the full speed adaptive cruise control system and auto parking in all the versions. Now we go to the interior where we have most other differences, and when we open the door we clearly see we have here the multi-layered soundproof glass, which is actually in all versions except the basic one, but the sound insulation of this car not the best, still not the best, which you will see on the test drive. But now I want to tell you about something very good in this car. It's really a proudness of this model, the DVL system. We have it only in the 2 last versions, the top one and subtop. The first 3 versions do not have it. In the subtop version we have 14 speakers, in the top version like this we have 16 speakers, including the 2 speakers in the headrest, which of course do not influence the sound quality. And the sound quality is really good. It's maybe a little bit worse than in iX3 BMW with Harman Kardon audio, but still it's very good sound quality with very good subwoofer bass. We have this leather look material on all the seats on all versions. Of course, it's not leather. We have seat heating and ventilation in all versions except the basic one. And also we have the real natural leather on the steering wheel, which is actually in all versions, but the steering wheel heating is only in the top version with drone, like the car we are sitting in now. In other versions, you cannot add it for any price. The steering wheels at the same time is extremely nice with all these wheels, rotating wheels for selecting the driving mode, the terrain mode, the sound changing, and actually now this wheels goes very smooth, not like in the BYD models before. Now it feels extremely nice and smooth. Before it was also okay. Also, this cluster is taken from much more expensive models like 5 and 8 with this drive selector, which is coming up and coming down when you stop the car. Here we have the Alcantara and 50-watt charging with cooling, which is extremely nice and looks much more expensive than this car actually cost. One more ridiculous thing about the versions, that this HUD we have only in the top version with drone. In other versions we cannot add it even for extra money, which is not really understandable for me. If someone is curious what is this slot for, it is slot for the factory lighter, which can be inserted here and charged here, but this particular car for some reason we don't have it. Thanks God, the thermo box, which is traditional for BYD from plus 50 to minus 60 degrees, we have in both pre-top and top versions. Here it's pretty small, maybe for 2-3 bottles 0.5. By the way, it cannot be opened for the rear passengers, so basically it's pretty small, but still we have it and it's a very cool feature. Off-road image of the Leopard brand is underlined by this massive handle for the passenger, by this hook where you can hang something, and also by one more slot for the lighter right here. The glove box is very basic without any extra trim. This screen is of very good quality, very traditional for BYD. It's 15.6 inches, but in the basic version it will be 12.8. Everything is very normal, very familiar for me, same as in Leopard 5. We have the Union, which is basic Union suspension, which is not hydraulic or air suspension. We have comfort sport mode, we have comfortable control, and basically that's all. Also have the steering assist mode, brake assist, and so on. We have the drone menu right here, but we cannot use it because we are now in the showroom. It's DJI drone, which as I know can follow the car up to some speed, which can land on the car even during movement, and so on. Also we have the ambient lighting in this car. Only basic version doesn't have it, but here we have it as in the most car with the music read adjustment. And of course it's an open Android as all the other BYDs, so you can add here almost any app which is designed for Android. CarPlay, we traditionally for BYD do not have. Here is the menu. Here we have the menu of the seat heating, seat ventilation, seat adjustment. Only this version has steering wheel heating, as I showed you before. And we don't have here the fragrance system even in the top version. The terrain modes in this car, of course, not so vast like in older models like Leopard 5 or 8, but still we have 6 of them, including auto, snow, sand, mud, mountain, and drift. In the drift mode, the car, because of the iTAC system, allows you to drift in a controlled and safe way, which I haven't tried yet, unfortunately. The driving modes like Sport, Eco, and so on, we should turn on from this wheel button right here on the steering wheel. Now I'm at the second row sitting behind myself, and this is amazing second row. I have a lot of space. I have low floor, it's flat floor. I have very long cushion. I have plenty of space over my head, and I'm 1.78 meters of height. I have very nice armrest with pretty sufficient length. Yes, we don't have here any entertainment. We have here just Type-C, Type-A USB port. We have here the deflectors of air conditioner. We have some pockets, but it's okay for a budget car. It's still very good. We have the adjustment of angle of the rear seats back support, but the range of adjustment very small, and in the biggest range it's still very comfortable. I like the second row here definitely. Just the one weird thing is this a little bit not closed panoramic sunroof shade, which we cannot open more. Now we go to the trunk, and this car has a backpack. It's right here. It can be opened by this button. Basically, it's pretty big. It's a separate part with hinges made from metal, which a cover which can hold up to 3 kg, which actually makes the car longer, but it almost doesn't have space. Here we have maybe 15 liters, and I have no idea what I would put here. Probably some tools like the tire repair tools, or maybe charger or something like that. So this is a very let's say contradiction thing, but if you like it, then you like it. Nevertheless, it's the end point of the car. It goes out of the size of the car pretty much, and I'm sure all the cars will be scratched here and hit here because the bumper finishes right there. Nevertheless, we go to the trunk. We have this huge rear door, the tailgate, and this is the typical tailgate of a huge SUV. Here we have the massive hinges, which should be such massive for the big door. We don't have the electric door in any of the versions, and the trunk itself is pretty small. I don't have the numbers, but I think it's about 300 liters here. And under the false floor we almost have nothing, just this small niche, the subwoofer, which does extremely good job. This cover is from the battery compartment from the front, it's not from here. And we have the 230 volt socket only in the top version. Other versions do not have it at all. The infography of this luggage compartment you will see right now, and if we fold the seats we have the flat floor, and this is the good capabilities for loading if we fold the seats, but generally the trunk is really small. Also, all the cars have V2L. I think it's 3.3 kilowatts. The AC port is single phase, the DC port is right here, so it looks like that. The front is amazing. First of all, the electric drive, but only in the two top versions. Secondly, the trim, the finishing everywhere here is perfect. Looks like from a $50,000 car with a lot of insulation, a lot of plastic and so on. And the volume is pretty good as well. It's 151 liter of useful capacity right here. And it will be convenient to use, taking into account the electric drive. Our dear partners provided us this Leopard 3 in the four-wheel drive Ultra version, which is the fastest car, which should accelerate from 0 to 100 in just 4.9 seconds. And now I will perform a test drive of it. This is one of the cars I like very much from the first meters of driving. First of all, it feels massive in a very good way. You cannot compare it to ID.4, for example. One of the items because of which it feels massive are the very huge side mirrors, which are extremely nice, one of the best maybe in the whole market, and feels like taken from a big SUV like Leopard 8 or Toyota LC100. The ergonomy is perfect. The driving habits of this car, in my opinion, are very good. The view is everywhere super nice, even in the rear view mirror. The car, you don't have get used to it completely at all. The one only thing which I maybe don't like here too much, that we don't have the angle adjustment of the seat cushion. That's why I would like to make it more sportive, and I feel sometimes sliding off it, but it's not the worst case, and it's, by the way, very typical for all BYD. One more thing, the sound insulation here is not perfect, is not the premium style. I hear the wheels pretty much, but of course it's not a premium car, it's actually a pretty budget car, and for this price it gives you a lot. Now we will have the chance to perform acceleration from 0 to some adequate speed limit. It's sport mode. Let's try. From the start, it's pretty soft and smooth. But now it's already almost 100 kilometers, and it's pretty fast car. More you feel it fast when you accelerate from already existing speed, not from 0 kilometers per hour, but still you feel a lot of power right here. My feelings about the sound insulation are actually proved by the sound testing device, because at the speed of already 70, it shows around 70 decibel, which is about 10 decibel higher than, for example, BMW iX3 or Xiaomi U7. The other extremely brilliant thing about this car is that the energy consumption is just 17.5 kilowatts hour per 100 kilometers. This is the average energy consumption saved in this test drive car. It doesn't even matter how did the previous drivers drive this car, because this is extremely good number for the 2,100 kilogram full-wheel drive medium-sized SUV. The seat ventilation works really perfectly. Just half of the power, it already makes my back completely cold. It sucks my t-shirt from the perforated holes in the seat, much better than, for example, in that Xiaomi U7. This car provokes you to driving pretty fast. Yeah, it can drive fast. It can drive fast, and the only thing I could say about bad habits of driving and adjustment of this car is the rear suspension, which sometimes felt a little bit too loud, which sometimes felt a little bit too much under unsuspended weight. And at the same time, the front suspension, as for me, works perfectly. One more small thing which I found here, like a disadvantage, is that some plastic, especially the door panels, are a little bit cracking, and when driving you touch it by your knee and you feel this cracking noise, but it's pretty small, and many other competitors have it much worse, even from Mercedes and BMW. So generally, for this price, it's amazing car, and maybe even one of my favorite SUV, especially taking into account this amazing energy consumption. I've been driving pretty aggressively, and it's still 17.5 or 17.6 kilowatts hour per 100 kilometers. Really brilliant. Leopard Type 3 is definitely an amazing car which I would consider buying for myself. From one side, it has a lot of power, it feels like a massive and powerful SUV, but at the same time it's pretty compact, easy to drive, easy to park and so on. It has very good equipment, despite the top version has some features which I would like to see in the other versions, at least for some extra money. It's pretty practical, it has very good sound with the optional audio system. In 2 words, I really like it. The car we can export to your country, no problem, and because of the high sales volume, all the versions and colors usually available for immediate delivery in stock. All the contacts are below this video. Please hit the bell, push the like button if you like this video, and leave a comment.